What's up, you guys? It's your girl, Drea. I am here again with another video about navigating life without a father figure. The first one, you guys, if you watched the first one, just a little backstory of my personal life, probably TMI, which is something I want to talk about in this video. First thing I noticed when I finished that video was the cringe meter was cringing, okay? Like I was like, "Oh my God, why did I share that? Why am I being vulnerable?" Which is crazy because I do tarot readings and I'm vulnerable with you guys. I allow you guys to be vulnerable with me. So, that's one thing when it comes to father wounds, okay? There's a lot of like cringy, and it's a very normal human experience and human feeling, even if you don't struggle with any of these mother or father wounds. Um, but that cringy type of why did I open up? Why am I being vulnerable? Ew, I just want to jump out of my skin. It's very common and something that you'll probably come across when you are sifting through these emotions, right? So that was one thing that I felt, and I was like, shoot, do I take the video down? Like, just talking about myself, there's really no point to it, but there kind of is, so that you can get like a background context as to why I am so invested in these types of healing work, right? So yeah, the first one was just a little background, and I'm not going to go too much into like my own personal story. I might in the future, but I think that's done for now. I kind of want to, in this video, talk about, ways that you can start healing that wound, right? So you heard me say at the beginning something about a mother wound as well. Mother wounds tend to run hand in hand with the father wound. Not all the time, okay? But if you're somebody like me and you've experienced both the father and mother wound, it's hard to differentiate which problems of yours, I guess you could say, are coming from which direction. So for example, for the mother wound, you'll see it come up as a lack of emotional safety, okay? Making it difficult to learn how to self-soothe and self-regulate. Now, like I said, these these symptoms or side effects of these wounds aren't just um, like they aren't just for the mother wound. For example, what I just said isn't just going to take place for the mother wound. They're interchangeable. You may have a father wound and experience lack of emotional safety, but not have a mother wound, right? This is just things that normally occur. For the father wound, it tends to impact more of your self-image, your confidence, your sense of independence, right? So that leads to difficulty building and maintaining relationships. Same with the mother wound as well. I've noticed that like females that have a mother wound, they tend to have trouble having relationships with other females. And here's the thing, you guys, you don't have to be a female just to have the father wound or a male to have the mother wound. It can show up interchangeably. Like I said, sex doesn't matter. Also, there is kind of like this stereotype of like if you have father wounds, you're more of a chaser, a clinger, a codependent, right? Which usually is the case, but it could also show up the other way around. And usually people with mother wounds, they tend to be the runner, right? Like I said, there is no set in stone way that it is, right? You can have both. You could have father wounds and experience being a runner and a chaser at the same time. Probably not the same time, but at different times in your life. You know what I mean? So it gets messy. It gets messy if you have a lot of those wounds, multiple wounds like that, parental wounds, and you see it showing up in multiple ways, not just codependent, clingy, needy, and attached, but also running, running away from your feelings, not wanting to feel that connection, and a fear of intimacy. Okay, so first of all, obviously, I'm talking about the father wound here, so I don't know if I'm going to go too much into the mother wound later on down the road. But as far as the father wound, you guys, one thing I do recommend is therapy. Now, I have been in and out of therapy as a child, but I haven't as an adult. And I think that's something that I'm going to be looking into soon. And, as much as we have these platforms to talk and relate and to be a soundboard to bounce off, you know, um, ideas of how to heal with each other, it is important if you feel to talk to a professional, right? And therapy isn't for everyone, you guys. Like maybe you feel like you accomplish more healing on your own, um, or healing through a mentor, or so, in any other way. So therapy isn't for everyone, but I do highly recommend it. And one thing about therapy too is don't just settle on the first therapist, right? Look around, see who you feel comfortable with, see who relates to you the most. When I say I was in and out of therapy, I went to multiple therapists. And the first one, yeah, didn't relate to him at all. So it's really important to find the right one, okay? If that's the road that you are gonna take. Another thing is to allow space for your inner child during this time, you guys. It's really important for that. Like, that's where all of the healing is going to start. So if that means for you, and this is going to be different for everyone, if for you that means finding those things that brought you joy as a child, then do that. Even if you feel silly, there's this like thing around like getting back to your childhood energy that feels silly for a lot of people. For example, say you like video games, okay? Say you like Mario Kart and you really want to play Mario Kart and you're like, I'm an adult, I don't have time, which honestly, I feel like a lot of people, especially millennials, we don't care about that anymore. Like we're like the biggest adults, or the biggest adult children out of all the generations, in my opinion. But do those things that bring you joy, you guys. Don't be ashamed. Don't feel silly. It's okay to feel that way. In fact, that's part of the healing, okay? If you need to do these things in the privacy of your own home, if you still feel too vulnerable to share those things with other people, that's okay. Which brings me to the next thing is building trust, okay? Building trust with people. That it kind of relates to what I was talking about where I posted that last video and I felt so cringe, okay? I felt so cringe because it's hard for me to trust that my emotions are going to land in a safe place, especially with a platform like this. Now, luckily for me, I don't have a lot of viewers and followers or subscribers, so I do feel safe opening up on this platform. If I were getting like thousands and thousands of views, I don't know if this would be the appropriate place for me to start that healing journey. I'm going to leave these videos up, and who knows if in the future they gain a lot of views. By that time, I would like to think that I have progressed in my healing progress, that I'm past the point of feeling cringe and uncomfortable being vulnerable. But when you're starting out, don't just throw everything out in the open, because there is a tendency for people with trauma to overshare. Okay, that's why I kind of had to reel it back in that last video without oversharing, because then I'll overshare too much and it's going to mess with these feelings of building trust, these feelings of vulnerability. It starts to mess with your head, right? So building trust in the capacity that you feel comfortable. So if you want to open up maybe to a loved one about something, or a friend, or like I said, a therapist, but find that right therapist first, right? It's important to slowly build trust with people that you deem worthy or trustworthy, okay? Once again, to the level that you feel comfortable, okay? Also, it's important to celebrate your achievements, and it kind of ties into building trust. So if you're spending time with a lot of people that you don't feel comfortable with, that you don't fully trust, or you don't feel that you can trust them with your emotions and your vulnerability, those are probably not going to be the same people that you want to be around when it comes to celebrating your achievements and celebrating yourself, okay? You want to be around people that are going to uplift you. And I know common sense, right? But not always, right? These things that I'm saying, we tend to think like, yeah, duh, common sense, Drea, but we don't operate using these ideals. Like we don't go through our day to day thinking of these things, right? A lot of us are in autopilot or in a state of fight, flight, or freeze. So it makes it difficult for us to remember these things. Be around people that are going to uplift you. Why would anyone be around people that are going to bring you down? But a lot of us do tend to put ourselves in those positions. And like I said, not on purpose, but it just happens. Especially if you have people-pleasing tendencies, which is the next thing I want to talk about, right? So work on these people-pleasing tendencies, work on your boundaries. If you are around people that are bringing you down, you are most likely people pleasing because you can't seem to set boundaries to get away from them. Why? I don't know. Maybe you feel like you're going to hurt their feelings if you set that boundaries with them, and you are a people pleaser, right? Due to wanting to be liked, due to wanting to feel that love. Even if you tend to be a runner in certain relationships, and this could be romantic or friendship. If you tend to be a runner, you still may find yourself being a people pleaser amongst other people. So whether that's people you meet day to day, or like in the grocery store, or just randomly, maybe you just find yourself wanting to be liked. Maybe it's more of like an ego thing, or maybe it's like a if you're more on the chaser side, it's a needy attachment, please like me type of energy, right? So like I said, you could kind of see how these things kind of intertwine, and you tend to find yourself in a predicament when you I mean, any of these issues, you find yourself in a predicament, but when you find yourself as both a non-attachment and what's the other term for it? When you find yourself as a runner and a chaser at multiple times in your life, then things get really confusing. So it's important to take this time to go through these things that I just said, sit with yourself and be honest. All of this is going to start from being honest with yourself. Am I not putting up boundaries? Am I being a people pleaser? Do I care too much about what people think about me to enjoy the things that brought me joy as an inner child, right? Am I around people that are uplifting me and helping celebrate myself? Which leads me to another thing about affirmations. For me, affirmations help a lot. Back to the father wound, how we're talking about your self-image, your worthiness and your confidence. Self-love affirmations have helped a lot for me. Taking care of myself and getting ready, putting on makeup. And you don't have to be a female for this, you could be a man for this too. Taking care of yourself, brushing your teeth, personal hygiene is really important. And I know, super common sense things, but if you guys have found yourself deep down this spiral where you can't get out when it comes to these types of wounds, you'll know what I'm talking about. Even just, personal hygiene can become an issue and a problem. And usually you if you're at that point, you will, oh my gosh, I can't even speak. You'll find yourself suffering from some type of depression, or at least I have, right? It tends to go hand in hand. So I just kind of wanted to leave you guys with a couple of tips of how to start, taking care of this wound, how to start identifying this wound within yourself. Like I said, I'm kind of just talking about the father wound here, but it could be about the mother wound, or it could be about both. Now I am going to pull a couple of cards here, just some oracle cards. I'm not going to do a full read, but just some advice here for you guys. So I'm going to start with the animal oracle, and then we will pull an affirmation. And then maybe one more. Oh, you know what? I'll do the shadow oracle, you guys. But if you guys have made it this far and you guys are watching this little series that I have going on, I really, truly appreciate you. It means the world to me. I love doing tarot. I love helping people, but it's important that we help ourselves too. I was really vulnerable in that last video, and I want to be able to be vulnerable with you guys like that. I want to be honest with you guys, and yeah, it's important that you guys know that I'm just as real as you. I go through just as many issues as you guys go through. I'm healing just as everyone else is. So, yeah. Let's get an animal oracle. So what do we have for the collective here, Spirit? Any advice for the collective when it comes to this father wound? Highest love and light. What advice do we have? Thank you. So you guys got wolf with inner strength. Love that. Inner strength, you guys. Yeah, it says, you may be facing a challenge you feel less than prepared for. This is a reminder that you have all the tools in your spiritual treasure chest to handle this effectively. Take a step back and try to look at it with fresh eyes. So this is what I'm talking about, you guys. Like, as a 32-year-old, I like to think that I've always been aware of this father wound. As much, I wouldn't say always, but I was aware very early about this, at an early age, about this father wound. And I'd like to think that I have been doing what I need to do to heal, but in reality, I don't think I have. And that's why I started this series with you guys, because this is the beginning of my journey, or at least the beginning of me taking it a little bit more seriously. And maybe, like I said in the last one, it has to do with the fact that I think that my father and I possibly won't talk anymore. So it's gotten to a point of like, okay, I need to accept it, where before I think I was trying to force it and make it happen. So it may take you guys to get to the point, and maybe that's where you're at right now. Maybe you have tried, and now you're at a point where you're like, I have to accept this. Or maybe if you have a father wound where your father is completely absent, or maybe he passed away, or there's no possibility for you to try, um, you are forced to accept it, that's where you're at right now. Okay. So even though this seems like something that you're not prepared for, or something that you may not want to do, I think Spirit is saying now is the time to do that, right? And you have all the tools that you need to make this happen, okay? We are not the first people to experience this type of wound. This is a very common thing that a lot of people experience. It's a vicious cycle that will continue generation through generation, right? And I guarantee you, if you are struggling with this type of wound, you can trace it back in down your bloodline. Okay, like I said, my father had father wounds. His father probably had father wounds, and you're going to see, okay, this person had this wound, and my mother had this wound, and blah, 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 right? You're going to see how it's a generational thing. So you guys are this wolf, okay? You're not this sheep that you think you are, okay? You're more than capable of handling this type of healing. Okay. And now's the time, you guys. When it says take a step back and look at it with fresh eyes, take a step back and reevaluate. Now is the time to reevaluate. Like I said, sit with yourself and go through the list of things that I said. Go online, look up more videos when it comes to father wounds. Make a checklist. Okay, yeah, that applies to me. That applies to me, right? And whichever one resonates with you the most, like for example, say the inner child, allowing space for your inner child really stood out to you, and you're like, man, I really got to show that kid some love, right? Then that's going to be your first place to start. You know what I mean? Okay, Spirit, what do we have for affirmations for the collective when it comes to this father wound? Highest love and light. What do we have? Thank you. I am prosperous. Okay, a lot of you guys, now I'm not really sure. This is something that I'm going to have to tap into Spirit a little bit more to see how this connects, or maybe do a little bit more research. But I'm feeling like there is something, this feels more for a masculine energy. It doesn't have to be, but you guys got I am prosperous. Okay, I am prosperous. And I was going to say this feels like there is something in your root chakra, or I said something with your ego earlier, right? This is why I love tarot, because in the last video, it's like I was just talking about myself and I'm kind of scatterbrained, but when I'm channeling, it's like these messages, I feel like I have more guidance for you guys, more advice. There's something about a masculine energy. Maybe it's your masculine energy, right? You have a father wound, so it's affecting your masculine energy, okay? It's affecting your root chakra, your sense of safety. Okay. And that root chakra is also connected to your sense of prosperity and your sense of like what you find yourself worthy of when it comes to abundance. Okay. So maybe you find yourself experiencing a lot of lack of, okay, or a lack of mindset. Ooh, okay, yeah, this is getting really deep. So especially if you felt abandoned, it's like maybe you feel like everything is fleeting in life, everything leaves. And even if it's not people, this could be material things, money. You may just not feel a sense of security at all. But it says, I am prosperous. I open wide the doors of my consciousness to see that I live in a prosperous universe. And this type of prosperity, you guys, like I said, it doesn't have to just be money or material things, but maybe you feel unworthy, like no one's ever going to want to give to me. No one's ever going to want to be with me or love me or connect energetically with me, right? You're worthy of that. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of energies that love you and want to connect with you and that will love you regardless of your wound. Okay, so you are worthy of having a large support system if you feel you're not. That's not for everyone, right? We don't need a large support system. All we need is a couple of true friends, right? Or even just one, or like I said, a mentor or a connection with Spirit, with God. Some of us don't even have friends, you guys. Another reason why I think I'm beginning this journey now is because, like I had said in my past video, I've always been a social butterfly. I've always had a lot of friends. Now in this moment in life, which I feel like a lot of people are dealing with as well, I can tell you that I have zero friends. Zero friends, you guys. And it's not because I'm a bad person and nobody likes me. you know, I don't wouldn't say I have zero friends. I have friends, but we've fallen out of touch, and that's just life too. You know, they've become parents and they're busy, and we don't live by each other, and we barely keep in contact. But as far as like a support system, I don't really have much of that. I have my mom, and that's enough, you know. I have my boyfriend, and that's good too. But if you find yourself really alone like me, you don't need to beat yourself up about that either. You know, you have spirit, you have source, you have these resources online to connect like this with other people that resonate and relate with you, right? It says, I continuously open myself to receive unexpected money, unexpected resources, unexpected success, and unexpected good at unexpected times from unexpected sources in unexpected ways. You guys, I love this. I'm in awe of the prosperity all around me. So if you guys are struggling with that lack of, there is so much that the universe wants to give to you, okay? That could be the first place in starting this healing, is starting with your sense of lack of, okay? Your mentality of lack of, your whatever you're telling to yourself that is pushing abundance and prosperity out of your life, okay? And I'm telling you, it has something to do with your worthiness, okay? Your sense of worthiness. Wow, you guys. Okay, so let's pull one more tarot card here. This is Believe in Your Own Magic. Okay, I'm going to take it, but I'm going to take one more. This one flew out. You guys got garden with something lovely will grow from this. Something lovely will grow from this, collective, okay? This isn't the end all be all of, you know, like you will heal from this, okay? As long as you want to. And the sword here, I love this, you guys, because yesterday, if you go back in my video, you probably can't see, but it was the first time in a while I was wearing my Archangel Michael necklace. And it's, you know, a picture of the Archangel Michael and then his sword. And that's Archangel Michael's sword right there, you guys. Archangel Michael is my favorite archangel. As you can see, I got him right here. He's homeboy, okay? He's the protector. He is the one that took down the devil himself, okay? So if you guys are struggling, with needing to feel protected, okay? Look to Archangel Michael to be that father figure for you. Oh, I'm gonna cry. You guys, because he has been such a big father figure for me. And I know that sounds so silly, but it's not. Like, Archangel Michael can be that guy for you. Look into him, you guys. Put up pictures of him. Once again, I know it sounds silly, but if you need to connect to a father figure, connect to Archangel Michael here. Okay, he will protect you. Also, I'm being drawn to release your guilt. Okay, so maybe you feel some type of guilt around this. Maybe if your father left, there's that stereotypical mindset of like, was it my fault? Okay, and no, it was not your fault, guys. Wow, okay. I'm going to leave that here. I was going to pull one more, but I think those two are enough. Oh, no, you guys, I'm going to pull a Shadow Oracle. Yeah, I'm going to pull a Shadow Oracle. So what do we have for the collective? Final card here for the collective for these father wounds. We have depression. Yeah, you guys, didn't I say that? That I feel like this, a lot of you guys may be suffering from depression. This could be your wake-up call, or maybe it's difficult right now because you are suffering from depression. And the first step would be to take care of yourself in a more common sense way, like, or in a more practical way, as far as like maintaining proper hygiene, getting dressed, taking, getting yourself ready in the morning, cleaning your surroundings, things like that, right? So it says, this too shall pass. Every storm brings a rainbow. Yeah, so a lot of you guys could be suffering from depression. This is your sign to start taking action here. Wow. All right, you guys, I'm going to leave that here. I hope the cards resonated. I hope you guys got some value or some insight from the little tips that I brought to you. Once again, I'd love to hear from you guys. I'd love to hear your story. I'd love to hear how it relates. But I'm going to leave that here, you guys. And I'm sending you lots of love. I will catch you on the flip side later.